This month's Nintendo Switch Online drop was a pretty unique one, adding 3 new games to the Super Nintendo library on the service. Amazing Hibreki, with which it looks to be a top-down arena brawler that I kinda want to check out. Super R-Type, a sci-fi side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. And then the topic of today's video, Wrecking Crew 98. I, for one, did not know this game existed. I played the original Wrecking Crew on the NES NSO app, which, funny enough, this game is also included within Wrecking Crew 98, but I never knew it got a sequel on the Super Nintendo. This is likely due to the fact that this game has been in Japan only until now, but hey, I see a new game where I get to play as Mario and make him jump and smack things with hammers, and I'm gonna check it out. So before playing the game, I looked into some of the game's history, thanks to Mario Wiki. It was an extremely late Super Famicom release, coming to retail in May of 1998, almost a whole 2 years after the release of the Nintendo 64. There was a Nintendo Power flashcard option for this game as well that came out a few months prior in January, but most fans had to wait a bit longer to get their hands on the game until May. This being a Japan-only release, unfortunately all the text in the game is still in Japanese. Most of the text is just menus and whatnot, so I was able to just tap A through those, but there were some story bits I would have liked to read. This game is, at its core, a puzzle platformer. While the original Wrecking Crew is more of a level-based puzzle game, I guess? I don't really know what to classify that game as. Let's just say it's a level-based hammer-smacking game. Well, Wrecking Crew 98 is a bit different, and it's basically Tetris Attack, but you interact with the blocks by breaking them with your hammer to make the higher blocks fall into place, and using the cranks on the left-hand side of the screen to slide rows across the screen. Matching up a row of 3 or more blocks will remove them from your side of the screen. If your side of the screen fills up to the top, you lose. You play over on the left side of the screen while your opponents, ranging from 4-Man Spike to Bowser to what I think is an anthropomorphic wrench, play over on the right side of the screen. Basically, your goal is to send junk over to your opponent's screen to overwhelm them so their screen fills up before yours does. Each color block has a unique effect to how it interacts with your opponent, and you'll only get those effects if you match 4 or more in a row at one time. As far as what each color does, the red block sends enemies to the opponent, green turns the colored blocks into white bricks that need to get hit twice to remove and randomize the colors underneath, blue makes blocks raise from the ground, and yellow creates blocks that Mario and pals lack the strength to break with hammers alone. You'll need to use the bomb blocks that only spawn when you press the X button, which voluntarily sends more blocks to your side of the screen if you need more options. While this game is pretty easy to understand in my opinion, it ended up being a lot harder than I imagined it would be. One of my bigger criticisms of the game is how long the matches seem to be. Maybe this is a skill issue, but I had matches approaching 10 minutes even when I felt like I knew what I was doing, and with how focused and quick thinking you have to be the whole time, this can be pretty tiring. Some earlier matches when I was still learning felt like we were in a never-ending stalemate and I was just hammering away to no end, making no progress, but also not ever really being threatened by the opponent to lose either. If you are better than I and can beat each match quickly, there are unlockable side levels with even more weird bespoke characters for this game, like this living rice and Oyazi, a supposedly depressed man. You can unlock these characters to play as in the multiplayer mode. Speaking of the multiplayer mode, I did not try it out, but I think it could be fun with friends. I do think you get in some pretty intense battles if you have an evenly matched opponent, which would be fun to try using the built-in multiplayer functions for Nintendo Switch Online. Overall, I thought this game was a pretty good time. I'm glad I played it, I'm glad Nintendo added it to the service, and if you want to make a run through the levels, it should only take you an hour or two. It was really cool to see this new-to-me sprite work of Mario, something that isn't super common for me these days since I've played pretty much every game in the series, or at least seen every game in the series. This is a really cool surprise, and exactly the kind of thing I want Nintendo to add to Nintendo Switch Online. Sure, it's nice to get the classics added to the service, but the weird niche little games are just as cool to experience. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to show some support, throw me a like down below and maybe even subscribe if you want to see more from me in the future. I would love to know in the comments if you've ever even heard of this game before it came to Nintendo Switch Online, or any other forgotten niche Nintendo titles you would like to see get added to the future. I'm getting in the mood to get back into NSO right about now, so this game came at the perfect time. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.